So I don't know if you saw today, but an amazing thing happened. A miracle. Really, I am nothing short of a miracle. Did you notice what the miracle was? A community of Jews just came together to pray and to learn. And I'm not just talking about the technology that allows us to come together virtually, which is truly a blessing and in many ways miraculous. I mean, it's a miracle that there are still even Jews in the world at all, considering all that we've been through. And yet we still come together, and we're not afraid to be visible in the world because we care. We care about Torah. We care about the Jewish people, and we care about each other. And together, we come just a little bit closer to God than we could on our own. People, I'm reminded of it more now than I've ever been. Our holy community of Beth Israel is nothing short of miraculous. Which brings me to the building of another holy community. As I said, for the past few weeks, we've been reading about how everybody pitched in to build the Mishkan, the tabernacle that traveled with us across the desert from Egypt. And it was the sacred center of the community, just as Beth Israel is the sacred center for our community. It's holy space that we create together. It's a place of belonging. It's a place of support, of celebration, and yes, of worship. It's where we open ourselves up physically and emotionally and spiritually to each other and to the wonders and mysteries of the universe. And we invite holiness into our lives. That was the purpose of the Mishkan way back in the wilderness, and that's our purpose here today. And I mentioned in this series of Torah portions that began with Truma a few weeks ago, we begin reading about all the specific gifts that the people brought as donations for the building project. This would be Mike Unger taking account of every donation that everybody at Beth Israel made, every dues payment that they made, every offering to the Rabbi's discretionary fund. Shameless plug. And it says, "Yikhu li truma me'et kol ish asher yibenu libo." You shall accept gifts for me from every person whose heart is so moved. And then there's a very, very detailed list. This is back in Truma, and it lists exactly what every single person brought, even though it's going to be listed out again, which is what we read today. So this week, we read almost word for word a column and a half of Torah that was in the portion a few weeks ago, where Moses now is providing a direct accounting of all the gifts. Ela pikudei hamishkan, mishkan ha'idut, asher pukad al pi Moshe. These are the accounts of the Mishkan of the testimony, as they were rendered according to the commandment of Moshe. Now the Torah is so economical with words. Why does it give us this maybe boring, exhaustive list twice? Well, one Midrash explains that the children of Israel were chas v'shalom, suspicious of Moses. Suspicious, right? They thought, at least in this Midrash, that maybe Moshe was skimming something off the top, right? All this gold and silver and good stuff is coming, and somehow some of the donations had gone missing. So Moses, being a smart leader that he is, he basically opened up the synagogue books and he showed everybody that everything was completely on the up and everything was accounted for. Now, on one level, that seems to make good business practice. But on the other hand, I could see suspecting a Bernie Madoff, maybe. But Moshe Rabbeinu, our teacher, Moses, the guy that gave up a life of wealth and privilege and royalty in the palace of Egypt to schlep across the desert with 600,000 complaining Jews? How could it be that they would even for a minute suspect Moshe of such a thing? Well, the Hasidic master known as the Radomski Rabbi, he gives an explanation that I find far more satisfying. According to the Radomski, each Israelite was different, and they each had different means and different abilities. So each had given a different amount and offered a different skill. And Moshe knew that some of the people felt that maybe their part, their truma, their offering was somehow not good enough, somehow not valuable enough. And so he listed everything out precisely so that everybody would know that his or her contribution counted. In fact, everyone's gift was not only worthy and acceptable, but everyone's gift was in fact an integral and essential part of the Mishkan and the holy community. Sure, if you're the guy who brought gold for the ark or silver for the curtain, you're probably feeling pretty good about your contribution, right? You maybe even get a social hall named after you or a chapel. And that's important. But what about the family that could only afford a couple of nails? That their contribution mattered. And more importantly, did they matter? And people must have wondered, do I matter? Do I count? Am I important in this community? And so Moshe chose to list everything so everybody would know, yes, you count. You are counted. And he opened the ledger to show everyone that there was nothing left over, everything was used, nothing superfluous. God accepted the gifts of each and every person. Everyone and everything they brought mattered, and not just the precious metals or the gems, but the holiness of every soul. Because really the material is not what makes up the holy place, and we're finding that out right now. It's not the brick, it's not the mortar, it's not the wood or the pews. What makes it holy is that we've all contributed, and that all of us matter, and that everyone has a part, and that nobody is left out. And it's no different for us today as it was for our ancestors. Some of us can help more than others when it comes to money, and God bless you. But some of us volunteer to help make kiddush lunch, and some of us contribute like we are today, simply being here. I can't overstate how blessed I feel to be with you right now, rather than just isolated. That I feel like my community is still my community, and I hope you feel the same way, because each and every one of us is precious and acceptable to the Holy One. And just you choosing to log on today with us is invaluable. It is beyond priceless. Each one of us is worthy of contributing to our Mishkan in whatever ways we're able. And the key is that all our deeds and intentions are done b'shem shemayim. B'shem shemayim means for the sake of heaven, for the sake of holiness, for the sake of godliness. Because then all are indeed welcome. All are equally important in the building of our space for God in our community, and making room for holiness, and making room for everyone who wants to take part in that holiness. And I say Shabbat Shalom.